Welcome to Friday. We got a 3-day weekend coming up, so I hope you guys have plans. Get out there and get some sunshine. Go ride your bike. Go take a walk. Should be beautiful weather this weekend. Even if it's not, just get out there and enjoy your time. That you deserve it. 3-day weekend. You guys have been working hard. All right. So we'll check you on Tuesday. Here's our lesson for today. As we've been talking about this trimester, it is important for us to sharpen our reading fiction skills. Today, we're going to be focusing on the memory moment. Where in the reading today will we see a memory moment, a signpost? We are going to be analyzing the significance of symbols and illusions, determining how setting and conflict affect mood, and analyzing the differences in character reactions and relationships. All very important things. One of the themes that we've been dealing with for this year, for this particular book, and our current lives and what we're up against in this pandemic is fear, an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger, real or imagined. So there's a big discrepancy on what people are fearful of. And this guides us. There are two directions, fear and love, and they have many branches that fall underneath them. Now, into our lesson for today. Okay, our aim for today is for scholars will be able to analyze the significance of symbols and allusions, which are indirect references alluding to something, how you can get creative with words and vocabulary. Scholars will be able to determine how setting and conflict affect the mood, and scholars will be able to analyze differences in character reactions and relationships. Yesterday's word of the day was mutinous. As I was discussing a moment ago about fear, sometimes this makes us think irrational. The book alludes to fear in the book by giving references to a mutinous situation. In your advisory, if your advisory became mutinous, describe the events that would happen. Okay, so first define it, then describe it with a real uh, time scenario. Explain the cartoon. You're going to complete the following story by filling all lines. You walk into your home and immediately are overcome with an uneasy feeling when. Okay, so you tell the story. I can't wait to hear some of your responses. You guys always do a great job. We think in pictures, so we elaborate with vocabulary. Review. Would you likely feel uneasy if you were in a clamor caused by Stanford? Wall. If you meet someone who is insisted on remaining anonymous, why might you potentially feel uneasy? From the window to the wall. From the window to the wall. I guess that's what that's referring to. We're personifying the window and the wall. Similar to afraid, because both reference outside things that cause fear or apprehension, but different because afraid is more serious. Uneasy just refers to feeling slightly uncomfortable or unsure. Okay, if you're on this kind of roller coaster, you would feel uneasy. Yes, you would. At least I would. I don't even ride those things anymore because I don't want fear in my life. Sometimes somehow we've made it pleasurable to be in fear. I don't know what that came from, but to each his own. But I think fear is something that we should keep in perspective. Let me keep it that way. Getting into the Lord of the Flies again, we're into chapter 7 now, pages 125 to 132. Please, if you haven't already, it's way too late. You should be downloading that book and reading that book on a daily basis. It's challenging, but you can do it. These are the pages, the vocabulary words we'll be going over and seeing in this reading. Brine, sweat that dried on the body. And I'm going to remove these pages, disregard these pages because these pages are referring to the book. I wasn't able to take them out, unfortunately. So you can disregard those pages. Let's see who watches the video, and then later has a question on which one of these they should not be listening to. Rhyme, I'll just define it. Let's get that there. Sweat that dried on the body. Swath, wrapped up in. Flounder, to be able to move easily. Snivel, to behave in a weak and pathetic way. Sniveling. Okay, you're going to do your during reading questions. Our annotation focus. Get this out of the way. How does Ralph feel about the island and what the boys are doing? Okay, so we're looking at what's going on in this particular section of the reading and how does Ralph feel about it. Just a review of chapter 6 so that we can get a framework of what and review of where we're going. As a fear about the beast grips the boys, the balance between civilization and savagery on the island shifts, and Ralph's control over the group diminishes. At the beginning of the novel, Ralph holds on to the other boys. Ralph's hold on the other boys is quite secure. They all understand the need for order and purposeful action, even if they do not always want to be bothered with rules. By this point, however, as the conventions of civilization begin to erode among the boys, Ralph's hold on them slips, while Jack becomes a more powerful and menacing figure in the camp. In chapter 5, Ralph attempts to reason with the boys. Ralph's attempt to reason with the boys is ineffective. By chapter 6, Jack is able to manipulate Ralph by asking him in front of the other boys whether he is frightened. Again, remember, fear is a theme in this decision-making process that they're experiencing. This question forces Ralph to act irrationally simply for the sake of preserving his status among the other boys. The breakdown in the group's desire for morality, order, and civilization is increasingly enabled or excused by the presence of the monster, the beast that has frightened the little ones since the beginning of the novel, and that is quickly assuming an almost religious significance in the camp. The air battle and the dead parachutists remind us of the larger setting of the large Lord of the Flies. Again, we're dealing with the setting. Remember the aim for today. Though the boys lead an isolated life on the island, we know that a bloody war is being waged elsewhere in the world. A war that apparently is terrible, that is a terrible Holocaust. All Golding tells us is that atom bombs have threatened England in a war against the Reds, and that the boys were evacuated just before the impending destruction of their civilization. The war is also responsible for the boys' crash, landing on the island in the first place because of the enemy aircraft gunned down by their transport plane. Although the war remains in the background of The Lord of the Flies, it is nevertheless important extension of the main theme of the novel, civilization versus the beastly nature. Yet they're coming from a civilized nation, but they're at war. So it's that constant conflict. War represents the savage outburst of civilization when the desire of violence and power overwhelms the desire for order and peace, even though overwhelms the desire for order and peace. Okay, so just what I said, that there's a conflict of civilized world and battle in the adult world and the child world. So is that the nature of man? Even though the outside world has bestowed upon the boys a sense of morality and order, the danger of savagery remains real, even with the context of the seemingly civilized society that has nurtured them. Okay, so that's just a review. Now, moving forward, the exit ticket for today. What is Ralph dreaming of when he's contemplating the sea? And who correctly interprets Ralph's state of that dreamy meditation of being rescued? So answer these questions. Then what you're going to do, we're working on symbolism and symbols. We think in pictures. So what is the imagery created to get the deeper meaning across? Yesterday, you worked to understand and explain symbols that were given to you. Today, you will identify symbols from the text and explain what they symbolize. There are a few types of things that we can look at to discover symbols in a text. So here are the boxes: important items, important people, important places, important things. Person, place, or thing, nouns, places, items. You've heard these terms before. what are the important things that stuck out to you? You're going to list them in the box, as many as you can. Be creative. Go back and look through those pages. Any important symbols that you can find in these categories, put them in. Then you're going to circle three of those potential symbols that you think have the most meaning at this point in the novel. Then you're going to fill in the hold it. Okay, you're going to describe the what these symbols mean through this format here. You're going to have one, two, and three. You're only, let's see again who's watching the video to the end, you only have to do one of these. If you do two or three, you will get extra credit. I'm only going to ask you to do one of these, but be thorough and complete. And if you would like extra credit, please go on and do the others. It's fine, as many as you can. Okay, just to give you a refresher of what that looks like. Remember, go back to lesson 20, and we did the same thing for the apple from the giver. What did that symbolize, and what was symbolic about it? Number two, the house plant from the raisin in the sun. Okay, we discussed the symbolization of that, and beneath his hair from a raisin in the sun. So just giving you samples of what you can choose from the Lord of the Flies after you've gone to this section and completed the important items, important people, important places, and important things. On that note, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. All right. Keep your families well, stay well yourselves, and enjoy. I'll see you guys next week. We're closing in on the end of this year, 2020. It's been one great year. I'm going to keep it in that perspective. I'll see you soon.